All right, tonight we start with proof the deep state is real in America and that you, the American people, see what is really going on. Pay attention to this poll. According to a brand new Monmouth poll, 74% of you, the American people, say you think this group of unelected bureaucrats are secretly trying to manipulate policy. And it's deeper than that. We're going to have a ton of examples that prove that you are, in fact, right. But we'll start with the predictable fake news attack from liberals and the Destroy Trump media. They're trying to claim that President Trump fired former FBI Director Andrew McCabe. Okay. Number one, they're not only idiots, but guess what? They actually may even believe their own lies. President Trump did not fire former Deputy Director of the FBI, Andrew McCabe. The FBI fired Andrew McCabe based on their investigation and, of course, information from the Inspector General's report that we know will be forthcoming. All you have to do is look at the Attorney General Jeff Sessions' statement, which apparently the liberal media that's so overpaid and lazy did not do. Now, Sessions explains that after a very extensive investigation, that the DOJ Inspector General provided its report to the FBI's Office of Professional Responsibility, and then, quote, the FBI's OPR then reviewed the report and underlying documents and issued a disciplinary proposal recommending the dismissal of Andrew McCabe. Now, both the OIG, the FBI OPR, their reports concluded that McCabe had an unauthorized disclosure to the liberal news media and that, pay attention, he lacked candor, including candor under oath on multiple occasions. That's called lying to the FBI. So the FBI and the DOJ Inspector General determined McCabe lied on multiple occasions. That in and of itself can be a crime. Now, McCabe can only blame himself. And by the way, what cannot be understated is how significant this move is. For the FBI and the DOJ to recommend that McCabe be fired, it means he did something radically wrong at the FBI. In fact, sources are telling us tonight, again, that McCabe in the future could be facing multiple charges. It's that serious. I know the media is not telling you that. Now, McCabe deserved to be shown the door. And we're also learning tonight that just like James Comey, McCabe kept memos of his interactions with President Trump. And McCabe's memos, they just reek of desperation. This is like, remember Susan Rice, James Comey, they all kept memos. In Rice's case, 2 weeks after a meeting at the White House with Obama, Comey, others, Rice, she emails herself just minutes after Donald Trump becomes a president. Obama says do everything by the book. President Obama says do everything by the book. Now, the only reason Rice was doing that was a CYA. Now, President Trump reacted to all of this news about McCabe, blasting the corrupt media's coverage. He wrote on Twitter, the fake news is beside themselves that McCabe was caught, called out, and McCabe was fired. How many hundreds of thousands of dollars were given to McCabe's wife and its campaign by crooked Hillary friend Terry McAuliffe, who also is under investigation? How many lies, how many leaks, and Comey knew it all and much more. The president's 100% right. If the media had their way, McCabe, an accused liar and potential lawbreaker, would still have the number 2 job at the FBI. Most FBI people I know don't want him to have that job. Now, the media does not care about the facts, like McCabe's wife, Jill. She got over $700,000, an obscene amount of campaign money from Clinton BFF Terry McAuliffe and another Democratic group for a failed Virginia State Senate run. Now, McCabe eventually ended up recusing himself from the Clinton email investigation because of all of this, but only 1 week before the election in 2016. Then there's the fact, according to the Wall Street Journal, McCabe waited a month to notify Congress that thousands of Huma Abedin's emails were found on Anthony Weiner's laptop. Now, McCabe, he is totally a shady deep state actor, and McCabe got caught red-handed. And it looks like McCabe is still going to end up getting some of his pension, in spite of reports to the contrary. And the left in this country, they are rushing to offer, Democrats rushing to offer McCabe all sorts of various jobs. The reason for McCabe being fired is so obvious that even leading Trump hater himself, soon to be MSNBC conspiracy theorist, Congressman Adam Schiff, is kind of admitting that we're right. Take a look.
On Andrew McCabe, does the fact that the Inspector General did find that he lacked candor in some of his responses and that his firing was recommended by career FBI officials, does that give you pause, and does it suggest that, in fact, his firing was or may be justified?
You know, his firing may be justified. There's no way for us to know at this point. But even though it may have been justified, it can also be tainted.
My bet is he knows it's justified. Look, every once in a while, even Shiftless Schiff, you know, he kind of malfunctions and slips out of his destroy Trump default setting and actually tells the truth. This is one of those rare instances. Now, other members of this deep state weren't so accepting of reality. Former Obama CIA director, remember, he's supposed to work for you, the American people. Now, he's caught up in several of the scandals, but he's out there tweeting as arrogantly as James Comey. Well, the full extent of your venality, moral turpitude, and political corruption becomes known. You will take your rightful place, talking about Donald Trump, as a disgraced demagogue in the dustbin of history. You may scapegoat Andy McCabe, but you will not destroy America. America will triumph over you. Really? This coming from Brennan? This guy who once voted for the Communist Party, a candidate from the Communist Party running for president? Mr. Brennan, by the way, I look forward to learning about what you knew and when you knew it on a variety of issues. And I have a funny feeling we'll be hearing a lot more about you in the future. You were supposed to, Mr. Brennan, serve the American people, not your selfish deep state agenda. And as for Andrew McCabe, after being fired, he issued a statement that is creating what is nothing short of a legal nightmare for his BFF, his buddy, James Comey. Now, McCabe writes in part, quote, "The OIG investigation has focused on information I chose to share with the reporter through my public affairs officer and a legal counselor as deputy director. I was one of only a few people who had the authority to do that. It was not a secret. It took place over several days, and others, including the director," ding, ding, that would be Comey, were aware of the interactions with this reporter. It was the type of exchange with the media that the deputy director oversees several times per week. In fact, it was the same type of work that I continued to do under Director Wray at his request. So McCabe is actually admitting that Comey knew that he was engaging in a media leak, which is the reason why he got fired, or part of the reason, on top of lying under oath. Now, it sounds like McCabe either slipped up or is throwing his best friend, James Comey, under the bus, because back in 2017, in May, Comey gave a very different answer about leaks to Congress while James Comey was under oath. So who's right, James Comey or McCabe saying this? Let's take a look at the videotape.
Director Comey, have you ever been an anonymous source in news reports about matters relating to the Trump investigation or the Clinton investigation?
Never.
Question two on relatively related. Have you ever authorized someone else at the FBI to be an anonymous source in news reports about the Trump investigation or the Clinton investigation?
No.
No. Okay, with evidence like that coming out, you would think that Comey wanted to keep his big mouth shut, but that's not what he's doing. Instead, you got Comey. He's out there on Twitter. He's taunting the president ahead of his big liberal media book tour blitz, tweeting out, quote, "Mr. President, the American people will hear my story very soon, and they can judge for themselves who is honorable and who is not." James, like we've been saying, Mr. Comey, you have the right to remain silent. I don't know who your attorney is. God help this guy. But since you're interested in auditioning to become the next liberal media darling by going on The View and going on with Colbert and sitting down with Clinton's sycophant, Georgie Stephanopoulos, we have some questions for you. Mr. Comey, well, you're more than welcome to come on this show. Share what you claim is your inspiring story. I'll give you the entire hour right here on this set. I'll give you 3 hours on my nationally syndicated radio show. I'm on 575 stations. Come on, 4 solid hours. You want to get the truth out? You want to be our guest? You want to answer a few questions? Come on, you're welcome. For example, what did you know about Andrew McCabe's leaks and Andrew McCabe's lying under oath? You know, why did you tell President Trump that Clinton, that bought and paid for dossier with Russian lies, why did you say it was salacious and unverified in January 2017 at a meeting at Trump Tower But 3 months earlier, in October of 2016, you were using that same dossier to get a warrant to spy on Carter Page, and that was the bulk of the FISA application. So, Mr. Comey, come on the show and tell us why the FBI also never corroborated or verified the dossier. And did you know it used current and former Russian government sources, which is supposed to be a big deal? Did the FBI make any attempt, did you make any attempt to look at Christopher Steele's Russian sources and interview them yourself? Did anyone at the FBI ask Steele about his sources? Did you pay Christopher Steele? Because there are reports that you did pay them. And what about Fusion GPS? Did you ever ask Glenn Simpson or anyone at the company if they ever tried to verify the dossier? Because the answer is no, they didn't. And by the way, then there's the FISA court. Mr. Comey, personally, you were aware, of course, that the FISA judges, did you not know that they were lied to? Did you not know they were never told that Hillary Clinton had bought and paid for the unverified Russian propaganda dossier? Were you at all aware of the bulk of the FISA application being made up of those Russian lies? Or how about Andrew McCabe saying, without the dossier, there would not have even been a FISA application? Did you know that as well? You're close friends with Andrew. You were his boss. Were you also aware that Clinton paid her money through her campaign for these Russian lies? And Clinton's campaign, the DNC, they funneled over $12 million through a law firm, Perkins Coie. Did you know that too? Why did they funnel that money? And then there's the fixed Clinton email investigation, Mr. Comey. Sit down and explain why any investigator, you work for the FBI, why were you writing an exoneration months before interviewing not only Hillary Clinton, but 17 other key witnesses? That's what you did in Hillary Clinton in the email investigation. Now, take a look, Mr. Comey, at the side of your screen. You are probably familiar with 18 U.S.C. 793. That makes it illegal, in other words, against the law, to mishandle classified, top secret, special access program information. Did Hillary Clinton mishandle all that information by keeping that unsecured server in the bathroom of a mom and pop shop closet? Oh, was she trying to circumvent congressional oversight? Now, you originally said it was likely that hostile foreign actors hacked into Hillary's server. Did Russia hack into that server? Did China? Did Iran? Did North Korea? Did they gain access to America's top secrets and Hillary's emails? Or what about the fact that Hillary Clinton, she deleted 33,000 subpoenaed emails? Mr. Comey, is that a crime? Is that obstructing justice? We'd like for you to explain a couple of these reports. Take a look at these headlines. October 2016, FBI source, majority of staff on Clinton case wanted her prosecuted. Exclusive, FBI agents say Comey, that would be you, stood in the way of the Clinton email investigation. Mr. Comey, can you please explain those headlines? Can we talk to the agents that worked for you, that worked on that case? And what about what former FBI Assistant Director James Kallstrom is saying to the American people about all of this? You may want to pay attention.
I think we have ample facts revealed to us during this last year and a half that high-ranking people throughout the government, not just the FBI, high-ranking people had a plot to not have Hillary Clinton, indicted so that she could remain the flawed candidate that she was, which in my view was stupidity. And they also had and even this Strzok guy talked about this. They had a backup plan to basically frame Donald Trump. Right. And that's what's been going on. This whole thing, in my view, is just total phony. I mean, how would you feel, someone out there in America land, if somebody was just had a phony scheme about you and went on for months and months and months?
So, Mr. Comey, Mr. Deep State, here's an open invitation for you to come on this show, come tell your story, come sell your book, and answer some real questions. And, Mr. Comey, if you care about the truth, it's fine. Go running to your liberal friends for a little safe space to talk, but answer real questions here. Now, also tonight, members of the fake news media, they have lost their minds yet again over all things Donald Trump. And in this case, for Donald Trump daring to call out the extreme and abusive bias, the massive conflicts of interest that surround Robert Mueller's special counsel. We've been telling you this for a long time. The media just can't stand the fact that the president is defending himself and telling the truth, no collusion, and exposing their agenda and their lies. So the president over the weekend, he tweeted out this: as the House Intelligence Committee has concluded, no collusion between Russia and the Trump campaign, as many are now finding out. However, there was tremendous leaking, lying, corruption at the highest levels of the FBI, the Justice Department, and the State Department. Hashtag drain the swamp. Now, Mueller has been at this for almost 10 months, Congress for over 14 months, and so far, nothing, no evidence of Trump-Russia collusion. Mueller, if you got it, come on the show and tell America. And by the way, if the media, if you have more proof that this is not a witch hunt, okay, I don't believe you. Axios is reporting tonight that Robert Mueller is more interested in what happened after the election than before the election. The collusion supposedly was the whole reason for the entire investigation. And by the way, how can Rod Rosenstein, this guy is so conflicted, he should have recused himself, because on the one hand, he signs off on one of the 4 FISA warrants using Clinton's bought and paid for Russian dossier, and then he also appoints Mueller. I say conflict of interest. Now, it's why the president tweeted, quote, the Mueller probe should never have been started, in that there was no collusion and no crime. It was based on fraudulent activities and a fake phony dossier paid for by Crooked Hillary and the DNC and improperly used in a FISA court for surveillance of my campaign. Witch hunt. And by the way, people are saying this weekend, well, act like you're not guilty. Okay, saying I didn't do it means you're acting like you're not guilty. And then the president added, why does the Mueller team have 13 hardened Democrats, some big crooked Hillary supporters, 0 Republicans? Another Democrat recently added, does anyone think this is fair? And yet there is no collusion. The president is right to be fed up with all of this. Look at what it has done to this country in the last year. Look at the side of your screen. Mueller's merry band of Democratic donors giving over 50 grand to Democrats, including Obama, Clinton, and the DNC. None of those people donated to the Trump campaign. So if the president's innocent, I say he has every right to be upset, every right to speak out. Mueller's swamp and his deep state, they are abusively biased. They've been shown to be corrupt, shown to have an agenda. And according to a report, Andrew Weissman, by the way, described by the New York Times as Mueller's pit bull, attended Hillary Clinton's election night party. And Jeanine Ray did legal work for the Clinton Foundation. That's who's on Mueller's team. And as for the media, they went absolutely nuts speculating that Trump was going to fire Mueller. No, that's not what the president said. He said it never should have started. He never insinuated in any way he was going to fire Mueller. But that's not what your lying news media reported this weekend.
President Trump sharpening his attacks, really taking aim directly for the first time at special counsel Robert Mueller, calling him out by name. Of course, all of that raised a lot of questions about whether the president was trying to undermine his credibility, move to have him fired.
Big players in this investigation covering this feel like attacking this personally, the way the president has acted over the weekend, is a step toward firing Mueller.
Do you think that the president is laying the groundwork to fire Mueller?
We've seen this series of tweets right now, the statement from the Trump lawyer suggesting the entire investigation should be shut down. What would happen if the president made that move?